For the past 6 months, a team of us have been researching together to explore Norfolk's rich and diverse history. Our collective efforts have focused on uncovering the huge impact that first-generation individuals have had in shaping the culture of this wonderful region. Our expedition began in the vibrant city of Norwich, known as the City of Stories. We expanded our geographical scope to encompass the entirety of East Anglia so that the true essence of the history was captured. This enabled us to look at more individuals who have made a permanent mark. Our goal is to bridge the gap between history and the future with the expansion of humanities. By doing this, we can gain a deeper understanding and appreciation for the contributions of all people, despite their origins.
Zara.
Hey, finally!
Hello.
Yeah, man.
How was the queue for Unio? Did you get coffee?
We did.
It
It was really long.
It was really
Huge.
long,
We just had to
be
go
fair.
back later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Get
Yeah.
the coffee later, innit?
Yeah, I'll join.
Some iced
Definitely.
latte.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh.
On this hot day.
Yeah.
I was
Very
thinking
hot
that
day.
Americano still.
Ew.
Oh, iced America.
Still.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
I want to know what you
yeah.
guys have been researching on.
Yeah, let's talk about
Yeah.
the project we've been working
Yeah.
on.
Anyone want to start?
Start.
Oh, okay, Taylor.
Okay,
I will
Taylor.
start. Sorry, beat you to it.
Oh.
So, I've been researching Alan Minns. Has anyone heard of Alan Minns?
I have not.
I've heard
Nah.
some stuff about him, but I don't really know much detail. Could you speak about him more?
Yeah, so he is actually the first black mayor in Britain. Well, he was the first black mayor in Britain in 1904.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was from the Bahamas. He was born in the island of Inagua. He went to grammar school and then he followed in his brother's footsteps and studied medicine at Guy's Hospital in London. Shortly after graduating, he moved to Thetford where his brother was working as a physician at the time. And so the focal point of Alan's life then was largely the medical sphere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With 1888 being quite a big year for him in this regard.
What happened in 1888?
So, 1888 was the year when he purchased the Thetford medical practice, and he kind of just established himself as like an active member of the community, and he was even elected as the medical officer at the Thetford workhouse at the time. And did you guys know that the Thetford medical practice that he purchased now isn't anything medical at all? It's a hairdresser's.
What?
Whoa. I did not know that.
Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did Alan become the mayor?
So, for quite a while, his focus was in health, and he kind of seeked to improve, like, sanitation for people, and
Okay.
he even wrote and published the book called Fresh Air and Common Sense, which advocated for, like, getting outside in order to improve your mental health, which...
That is so forward for that time, just like speaking
sure.
about just everything beyond physical well-being.
Definitely. So he cared a lot about people,
Yeah.
and he was also like very supportive of local organisations, and he was a big supporter of Thetford Grammar School, and he even established the Thetford Horticultural Society in 1904, where he remained president for many years.
Okay. I've heard horticulture is about like cultivating crops for human consumption.
Yeah, so it's like cultivating crops more widely, but yeah, basically.
That's
So
nice.
that's just a fancy word for gardening.
Yeah,
then.
probably.
Yeah,
Fancy
basically.
gardening.
Yeah. And so as well as these other things he was doing, he was also involved in local politics, and he was a part of the Thetford Working Men's Conservative Association, and he was elected into the town council in 1903, and then became mayor unopposed in 1904, which
Wow.
unopposed, quite a achievement for a black Britain at
Yeah.
the time, you know.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. What did he do while he was the mayor?
He put a new pavilion into the recreational grounds, and he improved a lot of the services like the fire service, the refuse collection service, and because of his interest in health and like wellness, he wanted to improve like the quality of the drinking water for the people.
Mhm.
So he put in new wells and cleaned up the water for them.
Wow.
And because of everything that he did, he then ran and won again as mayor the next
Whoa.
year.
Again.
Unopposed. Yeah. So he
What a guy.
right.
Wow.
So he was mayor in Thetford until 1906, when he then stepped down, but stayed in the council for a few more years.
Mhm.
And then he moved out of Thetford altogether in 1923, when he moved to Dorking in Surrey, and that's where our story ends with Alan. Yashika, did you know that Alan Minns actually has a connection with Sophia Dalip Singh?
I mean, I remember seeing the family tree when we went to the Thetford Council, and I, like, just being present in that moment and just touring around the ancient museum and the Thetford Council, just I felt the sense of solidarity between all of these historical figures and the stories that we've been uncovering through our research on this project. And everything just seemed to come together, like whatever we've been learning and whatever the members of the council were telling us as well.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
So the ancient house that we visited when we went to Thetford
Yeah.
was actually owned by Alan Minns
Oh.
and later Sophia's brother, Sir Frederick Dalip Singh.
Actually, did you know that Sophia preferred her name to be pronounced in a particular way to rhyme
Really?
with the word fire, which symbolizes empowerment within the female community?
Okay.
Wow.
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Fire.
Can
That's
you
fire.
tell us more
Yeah.
about Sophia?
Definitely. I mean, at a time when education was considered a luxury and even just having your voice heard a privilege, Sophia Dalip Singh stood out as a path-breaking personality back in the 1900s. However, like one too many female prodigies of that time, the great work and the contributions that she made remain unknown and undiscovered, which is why you guys probably don't know much about her.
Yeah.
And yeah,
No.
there
I've
aren't
never
many
heard of her.
resources on her. Yeah.
Wow. So, what was her life like at home?
Her father, Maharaja Dalip Singh, was the last Maharaja of the Sikh Empire
Wow.
and happened to live quite an eventful life as an Anglo-Indian historic figure
Okay.
after he was exiled to Britain at a young age of 15.
Whoa.
Now, as a consequence of that, Sophia was raised in a royal household based in Suffolk, and the family remained under close supervision of the British government.
Well, so that means she was quite from a privileged background.
Yeah. However, despite having that aristocratic background, Sophia sought after change and ways to implement it, and she
Okay.
used her privilege and her platform to persuade various members of the parliament to seek support for the cause that she was passionate about, which was women's suffrage at that time. And in 1911, she led a group of women to the Buckingham Palace, which is big,
Yeah.
to submit a petition to
Yeah.
King George V about women being allowed the right to vote in Britain. And this sparked a lot of demonstrations, marches, various modes of resistance. And to solidify this, she also attempted to arrange a meeting with Winston Churchill, who was the former British Prime Minister. However, he declined, and that led way to a lot of violence and just a lot of discontent amongst the female community on the streets of Britain.
Wow.
She sounds like she has such a strong personality.
Yeah.
She really
A
embodies
real
the
leader.
fire.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. But the thing about her is she transcends that mere boundary of nation, because she united women across the globe and nudged them to sort of come together and acknowledge the various societal norms they were being conformed to.
Yeah.
Not only did she work as an activist, she also worked as a revolutionary nurse
Wow.
in a hospital that brought in both Indian and English casualty cases, which was astounding to the English given that Britain had colonized India back then.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And
okay.
despite her father being exiled to Britain by the government and having all of that, her desire to work for the common good and to sort of give back to society with everything that she had, it transcended racial and social borders
Yeah.
No,
and
definitely.
paved the path for future generations and people like us who research about her and get inspired and talk about her.
Yeah.
I like that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Daniel, we've focused our research on Norfolk and Suffolk quietly. Do you have a story to share more closer to home, or?
My story actually begins in the year 1990, where Justin Fashanu is about to become the first openly gay footballer to play for a professional club in England.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who is Justin Fashanu?
Justin Fashanu was born on February 1961.
Wait, that's your birthday as well. I remember.
Yeah,
you.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. However, he was born in Hackney, London, where his Guyanese mother worked as a nurse and his father was a Nigerian law student.
Aren't you a law student?
I am
Similarities
about to finish my
uncanny.
second year now. Anyways, the story gets interesting when his parents divorced. Justin was still a little child, and him and his brother John Fashanu were placed in foster care. They lived with foster parents in Shropsham, Norfolk, where they spent the majority of their youths.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did he get into football? What was the backstory about that?
Well, at the age of 16, he was spotted by a talent scout and signed for Norwich City FC.
Okay.
And by the age of 19, he was already playing in the first team regularly.
Wow. Don't
Wow.
you also play in the first team at UVA?
I do play for the first team at UE. However, Justin was quite tall and he was very strong. He played as the centre forward for Norwich City, where he scored 43 goals in 103 games.
Wow.
He also went on to be selected and played for the England under-21 national team.
That is
Impressive.
such an achievement at
I
a young
know.
age.
Yeah.
Another fun fact about Justin,
Mhm.
he was the first black football player to be signed for £1 million
Wow.
in 1980.
Wow.
1981. Wow.
A
Yeah.
£1 million back then.
It's a lot
Yeah.
of money for a
Lot of
black
money.
person, really.
Yes.
Yeah. But in 1990,
Mm-hmm.
he decided to come out as gay, which caused a major media storm.
What
Ooh.
happened?
A major media storm. When Justin came out, the Sun headlines was £1 million football star, I am gay. He claimed he wished to stop living a lie.
Yeah.
However, he sold his narrative for a sizable sum of money, which tainted his reputation.
Yeah.
After a week, Justin was disowned by his brother John Fashanu. John, the headlines in the black newspaper The Voice was shouted, "My gay brother is an outcast."
Oh.
I find that a bit extreme, really.
Yeah.
But John eventually acknowledged paying £75,000 to Justin to conceal his sexuality and keep it a secret.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he must have received a lot of money in this
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, he
a lot,
did.
like from his brother, and
But-
then
The £1 million.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
say I don't know. I wouldn't say the money was worth it, really,
no.
because the negative response he received from people, the black people, especially the black community, deeply hurt him. He felt black people should have been more sympathetic and empathetic towards him, given the whole story that was going on back then.
That must have taken quite a toll on him. 'Cause
Yeah.
being disowned by your family and then
Yeah.
disowned by your
Wider
community, where do you
yeah.
belong?
He did expect some form of empathy. However,
Yeah.
they accused him of bringing shame upon them, which is quite.
That's harsh.
It's
Yeah.
really harsh, and it gets even worse. He was ostracized by his teammates and subjected to a lot of homophobic taunts from the fans.
Wow.
Fake fans.
Despite this, Justin continued playing football and remained a trailblazer for the LGBT plus community.
So, do you think that this same reception would have happened had he been like a white player or
Yeah.
any other race?
I would like to say yes to an extent, given the fact that homophobia was a lot back then.
Mhm.
A lot of people were really homophobic.
Yeah.
So maybe a white man would have received some form of treatment, poor
Mhm.
treatment. But we have to remember what hurt Justin the most was that his own people did not accept him.
Yeah.
Mm.
So you have to. There are a lot of contributing factors to weigh in here.
So what happened next for Justin?
In 1997,
Mhm.
Justin retired from football and he began coaching and charity work in the United States.
Right.
That's nice.
That is
Yeah.
That is
inspiring.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because all of that money, and he's giving back to society
Yeah.
in his
Yeah.
own way. Yeah.
But it did not go as planned as he suffered serious financial difficulties
Mhm.
and severe depression.
Oh.
It was a lot, really. And in 1998, Justin took his own life
Oh.
How old was
Sadly.
he?
at the young age of 37.
Oh.
Wow.
His death
That's
sent shockwaves through the world, and it highlighted the need for greater acceptance
Mhm.
and
Mm.
support for LGBT plus athletes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Wow.
Well, today, Justin is remembered as a pioneer
Mhm.
and a hero,
Yeah.
essentially.
Mhm.
And his legacy lives through the Justin Fashanu Foundation,
Mhm.
which was set up to promote equality and diversity in sport.
Wow.
Oh.
Today,
Yeah.
as we would like to remember Justin's life and career,
Yeah.
I would like to highlight the need for greater acceptance
Mhm.
for LGBT plus athletes, and really believing and fighting for what we believe in, really.
Yeah.
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 And Justin fought for a more inclusive world,
Mm.
Yes.
which I would say his story has also impacted what we have going on right
Yeah.
now.
So even though it did have such a sad and unnecessary end,
Yeah.
Yeah.
his death has brought out something inspirational,
Yeah.
Yeah.
His-
For sure.
helpful for other people, maybe even like young people
Yeah.
Yeah.
and young athletes.
Especially as a black football player, you have to really
Mhm.
consider that as well.
I feel like he
Yeah.
paved the way, for a lot of
For a lot of people as
to
well,
come
'cause
forward.
definitely there's a lot of history going on with Justin being
Yeah.
the first black football player to be signed for £1 million,
Mhm.
being
Yeah.
the first one to come out as being gay.
Mhm.
Definitely.
It's
Yeah.
definitely inspiring.
But Zara, you've been looking at something way more recent, right?
I have actually. I've been looking at the living descendants of the Windrush generation,
Wow.
and through my research, I've discovered the appalling impact of the Windrush scandal that happened in 2018.
Wow.
Have you guys heard of the scandal?
A little bit
Yeah,
when
but-
it was happening.
Not really.
I think on the
Yeah.
news, but not really much. Can you tell us
Okay.
more?
Yes, it exposed a lot of things. So, exposed the denial of legal rights, threats of deportation, and the shocking revelation that over 80 people were deported
Wow.
by the UK through the Home Office. It was just really shocking, and it caused a lot of distress and anger among
Mhm.
British citizens from Caribbean descent. So
So what actually was Windrush?
it all happened in 1948 when the Empire Windrush cruise ship carried around 1,000 people from Jamaica to London. It signified a very important chapter in British history. And during that period, the British Nationality Act in 1948 promised British citizenship for these people. It was very relaxed measures. There was no documents that they needed.
Mhm.
They just had indefinite leave to remain.
Mhm.
So it really came as a surprise to them that
Mhm.
the prospect of leaving their home
Yeah.
was brought to attention.
Mhm.
Like, they've been living here for years, and all of a sudden they're told they have to leave their home.
Yeah.
And a lot
That's
of these,
so unfair
Yeah.
as well, because you just
Yeah.
uproot everything that you worked for all of a sudden because of a law that's being passed. That's
Mhm.
yeah,
I can't
Can't really imagine what they
Yeah.
are.
exactly.
going
And it
through.
happened because there was stricter documentation policies introduced
Right.
in 2018,
Mhm.
and it was very stressful among the community, among these British citizens.
So
Yeah.
your research, you said you were looking at living descendants of
Yeah.
the Windrush generation. So was there anything that you found
Yeah.
within Norwich or
Norwich.
Norfolk?
Yes, I actually got in contact with a ex-chairman of the Norfolk Black History Month. His name's Danny
Wow.
Keane.
Did Danny happen to work with Paul Dixon, who arranges these historic tours around Norwich based on black and ethnic figures? And I think he chaired the Black History Month and organized
Yeah.
activities and
I
stuff.
actually heard about that. the
Yeah,
Black
did
History
they happen to
Month.
work together?
Yes, they worked very closely with
Oh.
organising these events
Okay.
across
Actually,
Norwich.
Paul really helped me with redirecting me to resources and finding more about Sophia and Alan and just black historic figures around Norwich.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a lot of knowledge about those.
Yeah.
A lot of hidden stories in Norwich and Norfolk.
Mhm.
They're very, very helpful.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to see that Black history is important in a very small city like Norwich.
Yeah,
Mm.
really.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah. So Danny's parents, they themselves were part of the Windrush generation. I feel like that's like a living testament to, he's a living testament to their journey and experiences.
Definitely.
And I also feel like Danny Keane's impactful career is just like a living testament to like resilience and strength for a lot of these British citizens
100%.
making a life for themselves.
100%, yeah.
Like a lot of them, it was very foreign coming to a new country. He said to me that he was the only black person in his class at school.
Ooh.
He was the only person that was black studying fine art at college.
He must have stories to tell.
He does. We were on the phone for a while.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting to hear, and I just love the fact that his career is just forging a future generation, and we're keeping these stories alive.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because it goes to show, as you said, he's a living testament to the fact that even though people were sent back, like deported from England, that the people who were able to remain here could create successful lives and careers for themselves despite everything that was going on and everything that was working against them at the time.
But all this just goes to show that there are a lot of hidden stories,
Yeah.
Yes.
interesting stories
Yes,
in
definitely.
Norfolk as a whole. It's quite inspiring, really.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
inspiring.
Yeah. But you guys gonna get coffee or something now?
Oh yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, our
Had a
coffee
long day.
sounds smacking right now.
Had a
Smacking.
long day, guys.
Very smacking.
Smacking.
Yeah.
That felt good.
Oh my days.
Yeah.
Maybe pizza as well.
Oh!
I'm really
Let's get
hungry.
pizza.
Let's go.
Definitely pizza, mate. Oh.